Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Dr. Ona Show. The topic of discussion for this week is unforgiveness. I had the opportunity on last week to pose a question, and the question that I posed was, is it easier to forgive ourselves or is it easier to forgive others? And before we move forward, I would like to just read a definition of unforgiveness that I believe is applicable to all of us, no matter our tradition, our culture, our belief, or our societal beliefs. So this particular definition says that unbelief is a state of emotional and mental distress. Okay? It is the results from a delayed response in forgiving an offender. And I would just like to take a moment to say that oftentimes we view ourselves as the offender, which is why it's much harder for us to forgive ourselves. We view ourselves as the offender because we say to ourselves, we should have known better. And oftentimes we did know better. We just made the decision to go ahead and do it or say it anyway. The remaining part of this definition says unforgiveness is characterized by indignation, bitterness, and a demand for punishment or restitution. And so I would like to say that, some of the things that I thought about even with dealing with my own life and why it is much harder to forgive myself is because we really do ignore the signs. We ignore the signs that are given to us through conversation, through certain behaviors, and we make excuses for those behaviors, or we make excuses for those conversations. And then also, not only do we ignore the signs, but we also have a sense of distrust or mistrust when it comes to trusting ourselves. Trusting our perception on what we see, what we hear, how we interpret certain situations, how we interpret certain outcomes. We don't trust ourselves, and that could be because of certain things that have happened in the past. It could be because we have a certain doubt or unbelief regarding ourselves. It could be because we have a false perception of who we are. It could be a number of reasons, which is why unforgiveness is an internal barrier, because it is something that we ourselves need to deal with. Unforgiveness sets up bitterness, but it also, causes us to distort relationships, when it comes to an organization. For us who are business owners, we don't have that trust factor. Sometimes it hurts us in our relationships with family, in marriage, that unforgiveness that keeps, nagging at us and we refuse to deal with. So this week, I want to provoke all of us, challenge all of us to deal with the unforgiveness, the, things that we keep trying to suppress. We try to dismiss it. We try to act as if it didn't happen. We try to ignore it. We try to, just go past it. But we have to come to some resolve. We have to come to a point of maturity to where we can be accountable for what we have done, what we have allowed, and then the things that we didn't do. Okay? We have to come to a point where we forgive ourselves. I think the main thing that we have to do is learn from whatever happened. Learn our part. What did we do wrong? And take responsibility for that. Own it. Learn from it and move forward. That's, forgiving ourselves. I think that the best process that we can go through to forgive ourselves is learn from the process. Learn what it is that, we maybe ignored. What did you ignore? And then say, girl, you saw that. You saw it. You just didn't believe what you saw. You didn't believe your sight. You didn't believe what you were seeing. You didn't trust your own sight. So we want to take a moment and we want to just take the time to really think about that and evaluate it so that we can do better. That's the key, guys, is doing better so that we can be better. So that's what we're going to do this week. We're going to find those areas of unforgiveness. And we are going to start unraveling those areas. And we're going to start the process of forgiveness because moving forward depends on that. Don't you want to move forward? Don't you want to do better? Don't you want to grow and expand and learn? And don't you want to be accountable? Don't you want to be responsible? And don't you want to be mature in this situation so that you can start trusting yourself again? Because you deserve that. So let's figure out the areas of unforgiveness and let's start the process of forgiveness.